So I'm with Dan Chewy Mongrain from Voïvod, and exciting stuff happening with the band these days, Dan. How are
Yeah,
you?
a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Things are going well?
Yes, it seems like we're more popular than ever with Voivod after 42 years of career. Of course, I've been there since 18 years now, but it's a growing fan base and a lot of um, unpredictable thing happens to us right now. It's very exciting.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, and as you mentioned, this far into your career, not many bands can keep generating that much buzz constantly. I mean, starting even if we go back to 2019, you won the Juno for best metal and hard music album for Wake, and then a few years later, you're back in again with another Juno for Synchro Anarchy. You released a documentary at the Fantasia Film Festival this past August. We Are Connected, great Voivod doc, and now you're in the spotlight with the Orchestre Symphonique de Montréal, doing two shows at Place des Arts, one of the most, highly regarded venues in the world. If you ask any major artist that's played there, specifically for the Jazz Fest or even on shows, like yours. So how does it feel to be, this far into the career with Voivod and still producing so much? It must be, must make you feel young again, I'm sure.
Yeah, it keeps you in the moment for sure, and keeps you motivated to push further. And it happened in a strange way. We got invited by the orchestra because the bassoon player read an article we did in the Itinéraire
Mhm.
journal for people in the street, and it got read by him, and he's a metal fan, the bassoon player, and he mentioned it to OSM, the Symphonic Orchestra, and they were up to it to make a show, conjugating both entities. And so here we are. We had a phone call from the OSM when we got back from Europe in last December. I mean, not the last one, but the one before, and last year. So there we are. It worked. You know, we couldn't you know dream of such an event, even though it's a dream in a musician's career to do that kind of stuff. You always dream, and it stays a dream.
Yeah.
But now it's reality, and it's very exciting. I've heard all the arrangements. I worked with Hugo Bégin, who did all the orchestration. We worked together, so it sounds like a movie soundtrack from the 60s when real orchestra were recorded in studio and conducted by Bernstein or John Williams or
Mhm.
Jerry Goldsmith, like Planet of the Apes and Mad Max, or it really sounds like a movie score. So I can't wait. And there's gonna be also a lot of visuals because Noisy Head Studio was hired to do the animation, lighting, and 3D stuff, and it's all based on the Away, the drummer, who
Mhm.
did all the art for the band. So it's all based on the art of Voivod. So it's gonna be a 360 Voivod universe right there
Wow.
with the orchestra. So a very unique journey through space-time continuum and imagery and music. I think it's gonna be a really good encounter, so to speak. I think gravity of music just you know made both entities closer and closer
Come
until they
together, yeah.
unified. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like a beautiful pairing in the way you're describing it, especially I was going to ask if there was a large production element that goes along with this show as well in terms of video or visuals and lighting. So you just explained to us that there will be a very big focus on that as well, which I'm sure is just going to enhance the experience so much more and make it that much of a unique experience too. Now, I know that in the past you guys have mentioned one of the things on your bucket list as a band was to do a score for a sci-fi film, and what you're describing now is close to that, although it's set to your own film of images around the Voivod artwork throughout the years. Does this tick that box for you, or do you still want to do a proper, score for a sci-fi film? I think that might be still of interest for you, right?
I think it's still there on the list because it would be very challenging in the most creative way to write music for a story that's already been written and
Hmm.
creative with a with a script and images. I think it's as an artist and creator, you always looking for stuff like that to happen and provoke it when it's your own music and your own world. But when you're asked to help collectively on audio sculptures or something that can enhance another form of art, it's always motivating, and it's always a matter of accomplishing ourselves
Hmm.
through this medium that is Voivod, and I think we can do it. It would be a great experience for sure. We're still waiting for the call.
Well, it seems like this could be the next step to that. Maybe you'll have a film director, maybe Mr. Villeneuve might be in the crowd listening and watching the show and decide, you know what, maybe I should hire these guys for the next film. Now, speaking of the show and the wide catalog of music that Voivod has, I think I heard the show's going to run about an hour and a half long, around 90 minutes. So, how did you decide which songs? Because starting from the thrash metal beginnings to there have been some, some shifts in the musical style throughout the years. So, which songs, how did you decide which songs make it in there? And do you cover a wide range throughout the career, or is it focused more on one or two particular albums?
That's a very good question, and that's always a tough one to pick up the right songs in a set list. We do that for touring. We change set lists. If we go to Europe twice in a row, we're not gonna play the same songs. There are some songs that are kind of are classics that we have to play though, but majority of the set list is always changing a little bit. But for that one, we thought of what are the songs from every era of the band that could be very efficient, orchestrated for the symphonic orchestra?
Hmm.
And there's a lot of dialogue and progressive stuff. And more straightforward stuff too that is breathing more than a thrash metal song from the early days. So we picked up more of the intricate songs and the one that have more motifs, repeated melodies that comes from one part to the other, and
Hmm.
that could give the orchestrator the freedom of using the same rhythm devices or melodic patterns to enhance the melodies and the harmony. So that's what we decided to go for. And there's a lot of different dynamics too. We choose some songs that because in metal, that's not something you hear a lot. In that kind of metal,
Of course,
playing
yeah.
softer, playing louder. It's always loud, loud, loud. But in some of the songs of Voivod, and even we exaggerate it live, we play softer some of the parts, and then we come bigger, and it all impacts the audience really strong because
Hmm.
they're not used to that kind of dynamics in a metal show. And we exaggerated these kind of moments in the music, and also some parts on the orchestra sounded so epic that we decided, oh, let the orchestra play alone for that part. We're just gonna stop playing and let the orchestra play. And the music is there. It's already on the Voivod score, so to
Hmm.
speak. So it just orchestrated in a beautiful way. Uh, some staccato stuff on the strings and some melody on the brass and flutes. So it's really expanding the whole harmonic universe. And I worked with Hugo on that, and I heard the demos with the samples, but I can't wait for the rehearsals to feel the whole thing.
Yeah,
And I think it's gonna be it's that kind of songs, the longer one, the
more
more
progressive stuff too. Yeah.
yeah, mostly. Yeah.
That's gonna be, it sounds like a trip. It sounds like a real, like, imaginary and emotional trip that fans are going to experience. And even anyone, I would assume, that maybe doesn't know Voivod's music very well, but just loves the metal genre and that style of music, I'm sure would enjoy this kind of collaboration and presentation the way you're describing it.
Yeah, and also the musician of the orchestra because we have citation of Stravinsky in our music, and we have citation of Bartok,
Oh
modern
wow.
composers, and even people that like this kind of soundtrack, movie soundtrack. I think they'll dig it. So it's a good opportunity to open the horizon, the musical horizon of people that are less into metal, but they are into this kind of orchestral music. I
Mhm.
think it's a good opportunity for that.
Nice. One quick dive into your, more personal life. I know you're a music teacher at Cégep de Joliette,
Yes.
which must be a fun job. It's always, great. At least I enjoy, sharing what you know with young people and watching them grow and their creativity come out, and you being a part of that. It must be a very rewarding job on top of the other job you have of satisfying metal fans around the world for so many years. Uh, you ever get students, young students, or even, fellow teachers or other staff at the school come to you, "Hey, Dan, Voivod, like I'm a big fan," or, "I just discovered your music," and when they find out, do you ever get the fans kind of come in to your classroom as well?
Yes, actually, when I see kids, the new kids coming in the program with a little bit of long hairs and
Yeah,
a metal guitar, I know they know I'm there. So sometimes they go to Joliet because I'm there as a teacher too, but they soon realize that we're gonna do some scales and arpeggios and theory, and
yeah,
maybe if they do their homework right, we're gonna check some more technical metal technique. But
yeah.
but
But it's
yeah,
not a backstage party in Dan's class.
no, no, no. And teachers are really respecting what's going on, even though at first, it can be worlds far apart, jazz and pop and metal. And
Hmm.
some people are more open to it than others, but in the long term, it turned out all positive.
That's great. Well, Dan, looking forward to the two shows at Place des Arts, January 29th, 30th. Tickets at placedesarts.com. And Voivod's success continues, I hope, for many years to come. Still waiting for that movie soundtrack and score, and who knows what else. Are there any other ideas, plans brewing that you can share, or nothing that
Yes.
you, yeah, what's going on in the future for the band?
There's a book coming out probably this year about the band, the story of the band, wrote by Jeff Wagner, a guy who's in the metal scene since forever.
Mhm.
And there's shows in South America in May, and we're preparing to go back in the UK as well next fall. So, and in the meantime, right after the orchestra show, we're gonna concentrate on writing new music. And I'm sure
Ah.
the orchestra show will influence us a lot for the next opus of Voivod. So a lot of work ahead, but with the smile and motivation.
That's great. Very happy for you guys. The legendary Voivod, Quebec's own, and we're proud of it too. So, good luck with the shows. Have fun with them, by at the very least, and we look forward to hearing the next chapter of Voivod.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Anytime.